and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. We may now be seated. We may now be seated.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 15th Philippine National Health Research System, or PNHRS Week celebration.
To begin our program, may we request everyone to please rise for the Philippine National Anthem, followed by invocation to be led by the Holy Angel University Chorale.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Bayang magiliw, pero sa silangan ng ayaw ng puso. Sa dibdib mo'y buhay, lupang hinirang, tuyan ka ng magiging sa manlulupi. Di ka pa sisihil sa dagat at bundok, sa simula, sa langit na may dilakang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang islap ng mata at mo'y tagumpay na nag-iinit. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng wal ating pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang biligaya ng pagmay mag-api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And
You may now take your seats.
To formally welcome us this morning, let me call on the Mayor of the City of Mabalacat, the Honorable Crisostomo C. Garbo.
Participants of today's event, distinguished guests, and most especially to the man leading our country, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., sir. Good morning to all. I am more than grateful to stand here and welcome you all to the city of Mabalacat. To the event host, the Philippine National Health Research System, I would like to thank you for your tireless effort and continued service to uplift the healthcare system of the country. This is another opportunity you've created to harmonize the health research communities in our country. Your role, especially in the present global condition, is vital to our recovery and development as a nation. I am happy that you chose Mabalacat City as one of your venues to celebrate the Philippine National Health Research System Week, and it honored and pleased me that the President himself is here with us. His presence is more than a statement of support in the endeavors of the organization. Being the focal person for health of the League of Cities of the Philippines, I appreciate your commitment, and I am one with you in all of your health research agenda. I hope that we can explore on how both our organizations can address the city's health needs. I don't want to take so much of your time, but on behalf of the people of Mabalacat City, I welcome each and everyone. God bless us all. Mabuhay, and happy Philippine National Health Research System Week. Magandang araw po.
Thank you very much, Mayor Garbo, for your warm welcome.
And now may we call on the Regional Director of the Department of Science and Technology, Region 3, Dr. Julius Cesar V. Sicat, for the overview of this event and to provide us with what the PNHRS has accomplished for the past year.
To His Excellency Ferdinand Marcos Jr., sir, our partners from the Philippine National Health Research System, guests, morning. A competent, ethical, dynamic, and responsive research community working together for the attainment of national health goals is the vision of the Philippine National Health Research System. Through the system, we are able to promote cooperation and integration of all health research efforts and stakeholders in the country. Today, let me briefly share with you some of our notable accomplishments ever since the institutionalization of the Philippine National Health Research System. I would like to start with a significant milestone in 2020, wherein the Philippines was cited by the World Health Organization as among the countries which made significant progress in health research. Based on the WHO's 2020 Health Evidence Network report, the PNHRS was cited as a model for low to middle income countries with a comprehensive national strategy for health research. As the national framework for health research in the country, the PNHRS led the formulation of the National Unified Health Research Agenda, a document which serves as the country's template for health research and development efforts in a 6-year period. The NURA is created through a series of regional and national consultations to ensure that the agenda caters to the needs of all health stakeholders. Our most recent accomplishments in R&D involve the mobilization of our regions in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. As the country was scrambling for diagnostic kits together with other countries, the system supported the development of the first Pinoy-made COVID-19 diagnostic kit and the distribution of RT-PCR equipment and technical support to the diagnostic requirements of the regions. Seeing the immediate need for COVID-19 testing and escalating COVID-19 cases, the system supported the fabrication of swab testing stations that will still protect healthcare workers during specimen collection. Within 1 month, our regions promptly distributed and installed 132 units of these stations in DOH-identified testing centers in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. For continuous monitoring of patients with severe or critical conditions, we equipped our hospitals with RxBox, a biomedical telemedicine device capable of measuring a patient's vital signs and store health information for initial screening of patients. Through the help of our regions that partnered with PCHRD to identify and expand the RxBox deployment sites, we were able to distribute a total of 369 units of RxBox in 2020. Boosting the country's COVID-19 testing facilities, the establishment of the Philippine Genome Center satellite facilities in Visayas and Mindanao. The facilities provided services and significant contributions in testing, training, capacity building, support and collaboration on COVID-19 research in their respective regions. The work of the Philippine Genome Center has been crucial in determining the virus strains present in the country, forming the basis for various quarantine policies enacted by the IATF. The PNHRS also supported the recalibration of FASTER, a disease surveillance tool for COVID-19 which served as the official operational model of the IATF that provides expert forecasts on possible cases and scenarios in the country, guiding decision-making in COVID-19 response. We also explored possible treatments to address the burden of costly existing COVID-19 treatment. Some studies undertaken are the critical trials on Lagundi for patients with mild COVID-19 without comorbidities and the study of VCO's antiviral properties versus COVID, which was conducted in early 2020. Having shown promising results, we supported the conduct of a hospital trial on the use of VCO among hospitalized COVID-19 patients and a community trial for suspect and probable COVID-19 cases to validate the efficacy and safety of VCO as an adjunctive treatment for COVID-19. Moving forward, along with our regional partners, among our major focus is in the PNHRS is the establishment of the Virology and Vaccine Institute of the Philippines, or VIP. All these initiatives and endeavors would not have been possible if there were no efficient and effective network of researchers and research institutions in the health research system strategically placed in the different regions of the country. We remember with deep appreciation the President's support for the PNHRS when he was in the Senate when it was being deliberated for its passage into law in 2013. With your continued support to the PNHRS, we are confident of a vibrant and dynamic health research community contributing towards the attainment of universal health care. Indeed, we look forward to a close partnership towards a resilient health system that fosters unity, and cooperation, not just with our 4 core implementing agencies and regional consortia, but across all stakeholders in health research. In behalf of the system, thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity to share with you the PNHRS notable accomplishments through the years. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay ang PNHRS.
Thank you very much, Regional Director Sikat, for your comprehensive report.
At this juncture, let us hear the inspiring messages of the other PNHRS core agencies for the health research community. Let me now call on Chairperson J. Prospero E. De Vera of the Commission on Higher Education for his message.
His Excellency President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., Special Assistant to the President Anton Lagdameo, our host province, Governor Dennis Padilla, our host LGU, Mabalacat Mayor Crisostomo Garbo, our partners from DOH, OIC Secretary Maria Rosario Vergere, and everyone here today, good morning. On behalf of the Commission on Higher Education, as one of the core agencies of the PNHRS, I would like to congratulate the Central Luzon Health Research and Development Consortium, together with the DOST Region 2, for hosting today's 15th Philippine National Health Research System Week, a celebration that will gather stakeholders to share their expertise and experiences in health research and development. May I ask in particular our experts from the universities to please stand up. Those who are presenting papers, can we please stand up, our universities? Mr. President, the expert researchers from the different universities are at your service to make sure that all decision-making is evidence-based and based on studies. Themed the health research responding to challenges to national recovery and resiliency. This gathering could not have been organized at a better time. Since March 2020, the country closed its borders and restricted inter-LGU travel as the pandemic moved too fast for comfort. As a member then of the IATF, my most difficult problem during that time was making decisions that was not based on a lot of science and data. As an academician all my life, it was extremely difficult. I think most of the IATF members experienced that. To be making decisions where you cannot benchmark with other countries because everyone was suffering the same. Or you could not get data on the ground because COVID was happening too fast. This event, therefore, is important as it serves as a platform for the health research community to share their insights, best practices, and experiences in developing innovative solutions to contribute to the national recovery effort through health research and development in a post-COVID period. On the part of the Commission, we have been mobilizing the higher education community to do research on the impact of the pandemic on the learning outcomes and competences of students. It is also important to mention that part of this effort is a stronger desire to strengthen our research community to make sure policymaking, as I said earlier, is evidence-based. Mr. President, we're also putting together now our experts. Here, former DOH Secretary Jimmy Tan has already agreed to put together a roadmap on how to dramatically increase our STEM graduates as you instructed during your State of the Nation address. We are also facilitating the production of the critical manpower for your instruction to build specialty hospitals all over the country. Through the Dr. Parasabayan Law, we have authorized the opening of new medical programs in 7 universities and recently lifted the 11-year moratorium on the offering of new nursing programs in higher education institutions. This improvement of our health manpower and our research manpower is the contribution of the Commission to make sure your instructions in the State of the Nation address are realized as fast as possible. I wish all of you a productive conference. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you, Chairperson J. Prospero E. De Vera.
And now to give the message from the Department of Health, let us listen to the OIC Secretary, Maria Rosario S. Vergere.
His Excellency President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., Secretary Lagdameo, all distinguished guests and visitors, good morning po sa inyo lahat. Allow me first to congratulate the Central Luzon Health Research and Development and its partners, and of course, the Department of Science and Technology, for successfully staging this year's Philippine National Health Research System Week. The pandemic was challenging for all, particularly for our researchers who had to risk their lives to continue going to the field, laboratories, or hospitals. However, the silver lining that the pandemic brought was definitely better science literacy, or even evidence literacy for decision makers, and for a segment of the population, better appreciation of science-driven policies. The health research landscape is still far from perfect, but definitely better than it was in the pre-pandemic. The health technology assessment process is now fully institutionalized and soon awaiting transfer to the Department of Science and Technology. Genomic sequencing, thank you to the UP Philippine Genome Center, is now a critical part of our COVID-19 response. The DOH-led UP Manila-backed Single Joint Research Ethics Board has made itself most relevant ethics review in our region. Country is back on the map for vaccine clinical trials, and legislators are taking notice of the need to invest in research and in research institutions. But this good news only means one thing. We need to strengthen our research institutions and communities more and make it available across the country. With demand for research products increasing, this community needs to deliver. Even so, as we gear up to implement what the Universal Healthcare Act has promised, health policy and systems research become as important as clinical research. In the DOH's medium-term agenda, which is still being finalized, resiliency against future pandemics and health threats will be one of our pillars. And as such, the DOH, along with the Department of Science and Technology, is at the forefront of ensuring that the presidential directive of establishing our very own Center for Disease Prevention and Control and the Virology Institute of the Philippines will be realized. This, of course, is in collaboration with our partners in the legislative branch of government. To realize UHC and pandemic resilience, building institutional capacities is critical. Through scholarship programs, we hope to send a total of 300 scholars for masteral and PhDs in health to top universities globally, who upon return will be expected to bolster our UHC implementation and our Center for Disease Control operations. 300 scholars by the end of our current administration, and we hope Chair Prospero de Vera can help us on this, having launched successful programs such as the CHED Fulbright Scholarship Program. To support health reforms, we are looking at strategic partnerships with our institutions. For example, the Philippine Institute for Development Studies will not just be assisting in PhilHealth to come up with analysis and briefers, but will help us build the cadre for healthcare financing research and probably our very own case mix center. In a similar vein, we have discussed with our University of the Philippines Chancellor Padilla how we want to continue our health policy fellowships and internships, as well as step-ladder programs for our human resources for health development. Moreover, in line with the focus on institutional building, we at the Department of Health would preferentially support not piecemeal researches, but cutting-edge long-term studies. For example, the Cebu cohort study by San Carlos University has produced a wealth of knowledge and talent, but no such model for research has been repeated since. As we carry on the battle against COVID-19 and march towards universal health care, our interests must converge to an even greater degree and result in even greater determination to achieve our health goals. Through sustained partnerships and respect for science and evidence, matched with innovation, creativity, and resolve, we can achieve universal health care in the new normal and realize a better future for every Filipino. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, OIC Secretary Vergere, for your message.
And to give her message on behalf of the last member of the PNHRS, the University of the Philippines, Manila, National Institute of Health, let us call on Chancellor Carmencita D. Padilla.
His Excellency President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., esteemed guests, colleagues in the health community, good morning. UP Manila joins the health research community in celebrating and promoting the Philippine National Health Research System Week. As active partners in the pursuit of a robust nation building through health, we continue our relentless efforts of enhancing health through research. The COVID-19 crisis has underscored the role of science in informed decision-making and gave us the opportunity to reconfigure our health systems for greater responsiveness. When UP set up the Philippine Genome Center in 2009, it was extremely difficult to secure the funds. In defending the grants, our tagline was, "Time will come when the borders will close and we need a genome center." That was in 2009. I would like to personally thank UP, DOST, and CHED for investing on the Philippine Genome Center. Thank you to the government for believing in a plan that we did not know will be important today. Indeed, the Philippine Genome Center is a lifesaver during the crisis. And to DOH for using this resource for the genomic biosurveillance of COVID-19. The pandemic was an excellent demonstration of the value of collaboration using the PNHRS work. Maraming salamat sa ating core agencies for helping us put this together. Mr. President, UP Manila is ready to develop a UP Manila Science Park for our local discoveries at the new Clark City. I think it's about time that we look at the developments, develop it here so that it becomes affordable. And we look forward to your support. Apart from COVID-19, the Philippines has experienced other disasters that challenge the country's capacity and resiliency at all levels and sectors. The increased risk of expanding communities, the complexity of new and old threats, and the demand for efficiency in our daily and emergency response team systems point to the need for an approach that can leverage efforts across multiple sectors to achieve a common goal. And at the core of such an approach is research. Without research, gaining control over any pandemic or disaster or restoration is impossible. Our experience with the COVID-19 pandemic, where we started nothing in terms of science, is proof of how research played a central role in acquiring wisdom towards its treatment and prevention. We are grateful to the PNHRS for spearheading and leading us towards appropriate actions and measures in using research towards national recovery and resiliency. Indeed, collaboration is crucial in research. At all times, it is imperative that the government, the academia, represented by the various universities today, and other sectors work together towards efficient response and recovery. Our countrymen are praying that all our research endeavors towards resilience and recovery will succeed so that our nation can have a healthier, crisis-prepared future. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Padilla.
At this juncture, may we call on the Special Assistant to the President, Secretary Antonio Ernesto F. Lagdameo Jr., to introduce our guest of honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., President of the Republic of the Philippines.
Thank you very much to our Special Assistant Secretary Anton Lagdameo for his very concise introduction. Please sit down. The Department of Health Officer in Charge, Dr. Maria Rosario Vergere, the CHED Chairperson, and long acquaintance of mine, we have been working together for very, very many years on all of these education issues that we had been facing. And I'm happy now that all of our discussions, perhaps we can now actually put into place. Chairperson Popoy de Vera, Mabalacat City, Mayor Chris Garbo, the University of the Philippines, Manila, Chancellor Carmencita Padilla, the officials and staff of the Philippine National Health Research System, all the other distinguished guests, fellow workers in government, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As is my way when I am in the company of all the workers that have been working for the betterment of our health situation in the midst of the pandemic, I always start with a note of gratitude and of thanks, and for your sacrifice and for the risks that you take and all that you have been able to do to help us through this pandemic. It is nothing less than you have helped to keep millions of people alive. There is nothing more heroic in my mind than what you have achieved. So thank you. Thank you, not only from me, as a sufferer of COVID, but for all the millions who somehow have reaped the benefit of your work. As you remember, I was a very early sufferer. I came home from Europe in the second week of March of 2020, and I already had COVID. But as you remember, in that period of time, we were bereft of any science. I remember it was the first time in my life that I had experienced the thought that because we have become used to the medical care that we are always receiving. And whatever happens, the doctor will tell you, okay, we know what it is. We will tell you this is what you will do. And in a certain amount of time, you will be better. And all through our lives, that is exactly what happened. When we feel bad, we break our leg, we get a wound, we go to the doctor and he says, it's okay, we know what's happening here. And we will take care of you. This is what we will do. You will get better. And sure, you do get better. For the first time in our experience, I asked the doctor and I said, what's happening? And he said, I don't know. What are you going to do to cure me? We don't know. That is the situation that we were in. There was a total lack of information, of knowledge about this new pandemic. And that is why the work that you did, that developed the genome sequencing so that we could follow and identify and detect the different strains as they came about. The test kits that you were able to develop for the local community, the modeling that was done. This was all a fruit of your partnership. And it is something that has never been seen before. So maybe you cannot be considered. You cannot say you were not frontliners. You were not in the hospitals. You were still at the forefront, because what information, what data, what research you put together was what was used in the front lines. And that way it was so important. So I am very happy to be celebrating the 15th National Health Research System Week. And of course, we cannot celebrate that without a mention of President GMA, because through her proclamation, 1309, she declared the second week of August as the PNHRS week. I commend the Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Council for Health Research and Development for organizing this event, along with the PNHRS. I also acknowledge the Central Luzon Health Research and Development Consortium for hosting our celebration for this week. Your organization's coordination and leadership in this important field of study will help ensure that we can utilize the maximum economic and social benefits that stem from the rapid developments in science and medicine. The unparalleled commitment of our health researchers to pressing our nation forward for a healthier and safer future is certainly worth our recognition. A key element of the work that you do, is the cooperation that the different agencies that have come together and have removed all the barriers in terms, of course, of scientific research, of exchange of information, of help in facilities, help in using all of the all of the laboratories so that we are able to maximize our efforts. This has been the key to the successes that you have enjoyed and the successes you will enjoy. This not only happened here in the Philippines, it happened also around the world, where, as we saw for the first time, I think in the history of different countries, we could see that the research institutes were not very jealous of their information, and it was shared at an unprecedented rate. And that is something that we have also learned to enjoy, because of your coordination and your working together and your close working relationship has really brought about that synergy that we are looking for in terms of the knowledge that we are gaining and the ways that we are developing to mitigate the various problems that have come up during the pandemic, that we know will come up, unfortunately, in the future. But then I think we are better prepared because we have formed and we have had experience during the COVID-19 pandemic. And that, I think, still remains to be the key when it comes, as I said, to the work. I think that will be the key element to our success. To this occasion, various regional and national experts and researchers come together. You lead us in exploring and discovering areas that invite utmost attention. Keeping a keen eye on these different issues will undoubtedly encourage discussion and exchange of ideas. And this is what I am talking about, an open and continuous discussion and exchange of ideas, especially as we allow the essence of this solidarity for the Philippines to bind our efforts amidst all these difficulties. At this juncture, I wish to highlight the importance of intellectual humility, which you have all demonstrated, because this is what you need to pursue your noble endeavors. You hone your competencies and gain new insights from your fellow practitioners and remain open to new knowledge and ideas. We have no choice because we cannot judge, we cannot measure this pandemic by any other human experience. And that is why we have to be very open and understand and say, no, it is not something we already know, it is something that we very much do not know. And that is the openness that I speak about. Especially whenever groundbreaking data or new findings debunk our usual beliefs. This has happened. How many times did it happen during the pandemic where everything changed? Everything changed. This is the way of science, and this is what you provide. This dearth of science that we suffered for almost a year until we slowly began to understand. We slowly began to understand what this disease was. How do we treat it? How do we take care of our people? How many patients can we actually treat? What do we do to protect our frontliners? What is the new knowledge? Is this a new virus? Is this a new variant? All of these things just have kept coming at us. It has gotten to the point where I always am hesitant to say we are at the tail end of the pandemic. Every time I say that, there's a new surge. I said that already. The first meeting that Yusek Berhere and I had, I said, parang patapos na. Mukhang tail end na tayo dito sa pandemya. And here we come again with a new variant of coronavirus of Omicron that now we have to deal with, that you have to genome sequence again, that we have to find a booster so that the people are fully fully immunized, and that is the way of scientists, is that we continue, and I suppose it is different when we talk about hard science and primary research, like what you are doing now, because we're still at primary research when it comes to the pandemic. So we must really be very wary of getting fixed and saying this is what it is, because we know it evolves, it mutates, and after a couple of months, it is not what it is any longer. And that's why the openness of mind, the continuing flow of information between all of the different agencies has become crucial, has become critical, and has been, again, to say it again, the key to what successes that you have enjoyed. The health crisis we have confronted has exposed how vulnerable we are as a people. And this pushed us to devise the efficient responses and the mechanisms given what resources that we had. That is why I believe we continue to remain open to these new ideas and commit to work together. We can resolve these issues by employing cross-sectoral, responsive, evidence-based systems. Now, there's a very important idea. You are all scientists. Evidence-based system. There is no such thing as a failed experiment, because every experiment you learn something. This is something that we have to keep in our heads, that these evidence-based systems are all that we rely on. Not just some, well, you're all familiar with all the crazy stuff that came out on the internet during 2020 and 2021. And it was, well, one of the greatest jobs of government was to try and counteract that by providing actual good information and guidance for what people should be able to do so that they can mitigate the effects. If they have gotten sick, mitigate the effects, get better quicker, and avoiding and preventing the acquisition of the acquiring of the disease in the first place. So as long as we keep our minds attuned to the goals that we share and to the dreams that we want to achieve as a nation, we will not only emerge triumphant, but also open new opportunities and areas for growth in the future. Risk communication is likewise crucial in the time of pandemic and in the time of all disasters. What are practical approaches to preventing and mitigating harm? How can we prepare the Filipino people and disseminate information to vulnerable sectors much more effectively than we have been able to do so far? We can answer these questions if we delve deeper into responding to challenge towards our recovery and our resiliency. I trust that you will learn from each other's shared experiences, best practices, and discoveries in coping with the pandemic and other natural calamities and disasters. I am certain that you will do all of these and more. I am certain because you already have, and I am certain you will continue to do it. And thus we undertake the necessary measures to help our people and our society to move forward into what we now refer to as the new normal. As your president, I hope that my presence here today gives a clear signal that this administration continues to support your endeavors so that together we can create an enabling environment for the Filipino research community that fosters collaboration and cooperation that will yield solutions that will make lives better for our fellow men and women. And to this end, as I am sure you know, I have presented to the Congress, both houses of Congress, the proposed creation of the Virology Center of the Philippines, and so that we can so that we can consolidate in a better way all of the disparate research, all the different sources of knowledge, all the different sources of research and new data. We can put it together and be more coordinated as opposed to what we had to work with during the pandemic. And secondly, of course, is the creation of our own disease control center here in the Philippines so that we are ready for the unfortunate warnings that we are always getting that this is not going to be the last pandemic, at least not in our lifetimes. So that is these are the efforts. We have been in consultation with the House of Representatives and the Senate to create these agencies so that we can bring them to bear in what we are up to now continuing to have to fight. We will continue to work so that our people are safer, so that our citizens have better access to health care, and so that the quality of our health care will improve. Thank you all very much. I wish you a meaningful and productive week. Mabuhay kayong lahat. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas. Marami pong salamat sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program. May we request the President to remain on stage for the photo opportunity. May we call on the first batch, VIPs and resource persons to proceed on stage for the photo opportunity. Please be ready, batch 2, the Department of Science and Technology. Again, may we call on the first batch, VIPs and resource persons to proceed on stage for the photo opportunity. Next batch is the Department of Science and Technology. Please be ready. Thank you very much. Please exit on the right side of the stage.
May we now call on the second batch, DOST, or the Department of Science and Technology, to proceed on stage for the photo opportunity. PCHRD, kindly be ready. Thank you very much, DOST. Please exit on the right side of the stage. May we now call on the third batch, the PCHRD members, to proceed on stage for the photo opportunity. The next batch will be from the Department of Health. Please be ready. Thank you very much, PCHRD members. Please exit on the right side of the stage. May we now call on the fourth batch from the Department of Health to proceed on stage for the photo opportunity. Thank you very much, Department of Health. Kindly exit the stage on the right side. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for granting this photo opportunity.
And that officially concludes our program.
We have the last batch from the DOH for the photo opportunity. Again, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Kindly exit the right side of the stage. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for granting this photo opportunity.
And that officially concludes our program. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for gracing the opening ceremonies of the 15th Philippine National Health Research System Week celebration.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. May we request everyone to please stay in their respective seats until the President has left the venue. Again,